Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So today we're talking about Dazzler 40. We're almost finished with this series. That's so sad. Only three more issues. So this is the Secret Wars tie-in. So 39 that we talked about last week. Secret Wars issue 4 is where happened before this. But honestly, I didn't really want to go into the whole Secret Wars because that's like 12. It's like a 12 issue miniseries. But it also seems odd to just pull out one issue of a major, huge event. So, anyway, I just thought, well, I don't want to get that off track. So, anyway, if you, like I said, Dazzler and the Beyonder like developed a bond. They went all these places. He actually turned her at one point into a being of pure light. She freaked out, burned off her powers, fell to earth, died, and he resurrected her. It's a crazy story, but of course it's comic books, so there's all kinds of crazy stories in comic books. So we start with seeing these three characters. Um, and we see this trucker talking to someone named Silence. Like that's their code name. And we see this skull next to him, which we're like, okay, is what is going on? Is he like a serial killer? And he, you know, but he's talking about Dazzler, and Dazzler will soon be joining us. So obviously, he has something to do with Dazzler, something to do with his story. So yeah, we'll find that out later. And so we see Oz, Chase, and Cerberus. They are by the side of the road. Dazzler is gone. They're not sure what happened. The truck doesn't work. So, the guy's like, well, Chase, it's like, well, I guess we're walking. We're walking until we find the next, closest town. And he tells Cerberus to stay and guard the truck. But of course, Cerberus, he does what he wants. He's more like a cat than a dog. Like cats, they pretty much do what they want. If you call them, and they don't normally come when you call them. Um, or, anyway, so kind of acts more like a cat, like just very independent in that nature. So, like I said, here we are, the Beyonder and Dazzler, and he brought her to this mall because he's like, the acoustics are perfect, and I want to hear you sing again. And so he and in their adventures in issue 4, he had brought her to this stage and created an audience for her and said, go ahead and sing, like sing for me. And she refused because it's not the same as, being actually singing for an audience. He made this audience because he's the Beyonder. He has like crazy powers and all kinds of powers, like basically unlimited powers. And his whole thing in Secret Wars 2 is he's trying to understand human emotions. Like he thinks he's in love with Dazzler at one point. And she of course is like, well, not in love with you. Like I don't even know you, that sort of thing. And so now he's trying to figure out how to basically Dazzler's trying to explain to him because okay, sorry. So what happened is they, worked with the Avengers, saved some people and averted a crisis. And so Dazzler's like, it feels, I feel some satisfaction for helping stem some of the anti-mutant hysteria that I kind of participated in creating. And the Beyonder's like, I will join you in this quest, and together we can do this. It'll be no problem. And she's like, basically she says, I won't get any satisfaction in that because here you are being of basically unlimited power. You could basically snap your fingers, sorry to use that reference, and things would happen. But to her, satisfaction lies in doing this by herself, because having people help her is how she got into this mess in the first place. In terms of the um, Dazzler, the movie, all these people were like helping her with her career and saying, oh, if you do this, it'll be great publicity for your career. And so she did her power demonstration. And yet that's what started kind of the anti-mutant hysteria, is her demonstrating this power because other people were helping her with her career instead of her, you know, basically she was taking a shortcut instead of putting in the work to do it on her own. So anyway, so she's trying to explain the concept of satisfaction and feeling satisfied to the Beyonder, but he doesn't quite understand because he doesn't understand human emotions. And she's like, the sooner you take me back to where you took me from, the sooner I can get back to hopefully achieving that. Hopefully achieving my goal and achieving satisfaction. And he's like, okay, I guess I kind of understand. And she says, I'll miss you. I mean, who knows what else you'll discover while traveling the earth. And so you see Chase and Cerberus are headed to town, or they're in town. They go to the local mechanic, and he's like, well, both of our tow trucks are out right now, so it's going to be a little while. So they go to the local diner, bar, can't really tell what it is. And Eula introduces herself. She's a waitress, and she's super chatty, super cheerful, and she's like, I don't know how my boss will feel about your dog sleeping right there by the door. And Chase is like, well, if you can get him to move, be my guest. And she's like, I think the reason he's so grouchy is because you're so grouchy. Maybe if you were cheerful, he wouldn't be that way. So we see these three characters who we saw at the very beginning of this book. So this is, let's see, right here, Chunk, Stomper, and Mama. And so they see Chase and they're like, where's Dazzler? And he's like, I have no idea, because he kind of woke up and she was gone and his trip wouldn't start. So he's really, like, honestly, like, I have no idea. And so they don't believe him. They're getting into a fight. He pulls out his gun. They have some kind of powers because he tries to shoot them or threaten them with the gun, and it goes instead towards the ceiling and shoots the ceiling. And then Eula tries to call for help, and they cut the phone line. So they have some kind of powers. And they, like I said, they're looking for a Dazzler. And so Chase gets thrown through the window and right next to Cerberus. And he's like, Chase says, some dogs would go defend their masters. And so Cerberus gets up and you think, oh, he's going to go defend his master. But no, he's drinking the beer that Chase left behind. Because remember I said he liked cigars and beer. Expensive cigars though. So they, come back out, start beating up on Chase again. They're like, where's Dazzler? I can feel her. She's near. And Dazzler's like, well, you guys are, dumb. I'm right here. Like, your ESP must not be that great if you can't even tell I'm right in front of you. So she knocks him back into the restaurant, helps Chase up, and he's like, what's going on? Like, how did you get here with my truck, even though it broke down and I have the keys? She's like, I had a friend help me. And so basically you see Cerberus, he's still drinking the beer. And these three characters are like telling Dazzler, you're coming with us. And Chase is like, do you know these people? Like, they seem to be fans of yours. Because they're talking about the songbird needs to be free. You can't keep her caged, that sort of thing. And she's like, I don't know these people. I only had one gig recently in Tulsa, the last issue, at And it was just one night, and I don't remember seeing these people there. So they're, basically causing all kinds of havoc, saying, Dazzler, you need to come with us. And she's like, no, I'm not coming with you. And yet, um, yeah, like, her powers don't seem to work on them as well because they pretty much easily kind of overpower her. Like I said, they have some kind of powers of their own. And so all the townspeople see what's going on, all this destruction, and they're like, we need to go get more guys and get more men. Like, these muties are ruining our town. We need to, drive them out. So Dazzler's down and out, but they see this like cloud, this smoke or something coming out of her, and they're like, wait, what's going on? What is that? Um, So basically, what happened is the Beyonder was inhabiting her body. He wanted to see how it felt to, be human, to like fight and, win and feel satisfied. And yet he didn't win. Of course, being in a Dazzler's body, I'm sure he limited his powers or didn't use his powers at all and just used Dazzler's, and yet he didn't win. So, and then you see this one of the townspeople is driving their truck right towards him. The Beyonder stops them. He creates himself a kind of superhero costume, and he's like, "We'll fight them together, side by side." And so they continue the fight. The bikers jump on their bikes, and Dazzler's like, okay, wait, hold on. We need to, set some ground rules. Like, don't basically, don't hurt them any more than we're forced to. And it kind of reminds me of that whole Wonder Woman saying, don't kill if you can maim or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm pretty sure Gail Simone wrote it, and I'll have to look it up and put it in the description so that, because I'm just drawing a blank right now, but that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, tangent. So they're fighting side by side. Um, these three blow up the gas station and use the blast and the flames and the debris at them. And so Beyonder's like, I'll block them. And Dazzler's like, I'll create what does she call it? A protective dome with laser light to deflect the debris and the blast. And then the three of them turn into this crazy monstrosity thingy. I mean, that's the stuff of nightmares for sure. And so Beyonder's like, Dazzler, the strategy is this. They can't turn, when they can't aim with the lasers or whatever they're shooting. So this is what we need to do. And she's like, I've developed my own strategy. I'm going to walk away. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're making yourself a target, an easy target for them. And she's like, why would I fight something that's already over? And you can see there's the three bikers laying on the ground. And he's like, you knew. She's like, yes. So what he had been doing is basically every time he upped their powers, and then he upped Dazzler's powers to match their augmented powers, and they kept fighting, and kept escalating the battle through all these through the augmentation of their powers. And Dazzler's like, I understand, we're quite a team, but now that you recognize satisfaction, I hope you can find, in your travels on Earth, a better ways to experience it than this. And then the townspeople come out. They have their guns, and they're really mad because their town is basically destroyed, and that guy's semi truck is destroyed. And Chase is like, hold on. Dazzler was just defending me from these three guys. She just, you know, if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be. And the townspeople are like, easy for you to say, everything everything of yours didn't get destroyed, and then all of a sudden you see it acts like nothing happened. And the bikers are getting away, and the Beyonder says, it's fine. They don't have any powers anymore. Like, whatever little power they did have was spent and used up. But I will say, Dazzler, that the initial jump in power was in reaction to your light. Like, I didn't have anything to do with that initially. So that's an interesting revelation. So obviously you can see where we're going next. We're going to continue on this story, maybe find out, who the trucker is, who's trying to get Dazzler. Okay, you know what I just noticed? Okay, do you see on the front? I mean, she, looks totally different. She's actually looks pretty here. And then this guy looks like he's kind of basically in shape. But if you look at him here, that is not what like they look like at all. I mean, he's called Chunk, and you can see why kind of. And she does not look as pretty right there as she does here, or she looks totally different. So, but of course, I guess this cover and these characters look better than the other, or they probably would marketed them and it sells better or reads better, jumps out at you more than having these characters. Because mostly people, especially comics, like to see attractive people, in comics. So I get it. And I mean, there was like the 90s, that it was all about that, basically. I talk about that in other videos. But anyway, I'm going to end this video now before I go off on another tangent. And I hope you will join me for issue 41. That's next. And there's just 2 issues left. That's so sad. Like I said, I don't know what we're going to do after the 2 issues are up, but I guess I'll figure that out and we'll see. So until next time, bye.